Have you ever been stuck on a problem that just feels impossible? One of those can't have your cake and eat it too situations? Well, today we're going to unpack a super powerful framework that's designed to solve exactly those kinds of problems. Let's dive into this inventive toolkit called TRIZ.
Okay, just imagine this for a second. You need to ship more stuff. You need to make more money. But the one machine you absolutely need to do the job is also the very thing that's holding you back. It's such a classic business problem, right? Every potential fix feels like you're just making a painful compromise. And this isn't just some made-up story. A real-life meat plant down in South America wanted to boost their profits by shipping more of their product up to the United States. So what was the problem? Well, the heavy refrigeration system they needed on their cargo planes took up a ton of weight that could have been used for more meat. So, to solve a problem like this one, TRIZ teaches us that you've got to find the real problem first. And that all starts with our first tool, which gets right to the very heart of what it means to invent something new. And that heart is something called a contradiction. The core idea here in TRIZ is that you don't really have an inventive problem unless there's a contradiction. It's that classic trade-off, You improve one part of a system, and suddenly another part gets worse. But here's the absolute key. TRIZ doesn't want you to just find a middle ground compromise. No, it wants you to smash that contradiction to pieces. So here's a classic engineering problem to show what I mean. Say you want to improve how heat transfers through a metal wall. The obvious answer is to just make the wall thinner. But what happens then? The wall gets weaker. That right there, that's the conflict. Improving one thing hurts the other. And this just perfectly nails the meat plant's situation. Their cargo plane system had two demands that were fighting each other. It needed to be heavy, right? To carry that essential refrigeration gear, but it also needed to be light so it could carry the maximum amount of meat. This is a perfect time to ask that core TRIZ question, what gets worse when I improve this? If they add more meat, they can't have the refrigeration. So the real question becomes, how do you make something heavy and light at the exact same time? Well, it turns out the answer is often hiding in places we totally overlook. And this brings us to our second tool, the art of uncovering hidden helpers. In the world of TRIZ, these helpers are called resources. And a resource is literally anything that's already part of the system or its environment. The trick is we usually ignore them because they seem so, ordinary. This whole approach forces you to ask a really simple but incredibly powerful question. What do I already have that can help me out here? And resources can be just about anything. Yeah, the obvious things like materials, sure, but also stuff you might not think of, like energy. Gravity is a resource. Or what about empty space? Or even the time between steps in a process. It totally forces you to see your problem's environment as this treasure chest of solutions just waiting to be found. Okay, so let's jump back to our story. Put on your inventor hat for a second. Thinking about the entire system, the plane, its flight path, the whole environment, what resource is just sitting there, completely free, ready to be used? It was the air itself. At 30,000 feet, the air outside the plane is already way below freezing. The refrigeration was already happening, courtesy of the environment. The plane was basically flying through a giant free freezer. The solution was right there the entire time, just completely overlooked. This incredible aha moment leads us to our final core concept, and this one acts like a North Star for all innovation. Always, always aim for the perfect solution. This star is called ideality. The ideal final result is that perfect dream scenario where a system gives you all of the benefits with absolutely none of the downsides. No cost, no harm, no complexity. Basically, the job just gets done by itself. This idea gives us a direction, always making us ask, how can I get this closer to perfect? And yeah, true perfection might be impossible, but we can always get a little closer. This equation is a really simple way to think about it. You increase ideality by cranking up all the good stuff, the useful effects, while at the same time shrinking all the bad stuff, the costs and the harmful side effects. Every single step you take in that direction is a more elegant, more inventive solution. I just love this quote. It perfectly captures the goal. See, the ultimate solution isn't some better or more complicated machine. It's when the job gets done without needing a machine in the first place. And that is exactly what the meat plant did. They got rid of the machine, that heavy refrigeration unit. The function, keeping the meat frozen, was now performed by itself using a free resource, that freezing cold air. The whole system got simpler, cheaper, and way more effective. It moved so much closer to that ideal state.
So these three big ideas, contradiction, resources, and ideality, they aren't just some interesting theories. They actually form a repeatable, practical toolkit that you can use to tackle your own challenges.
Let's just quickly recap. First, you find the contradiction. That helps you define the real problem by asking what gets worse when I try to improve this one thing. Then you go hunting for resources to find those hidden solutions by asking, what do I already have that can help? And finally, you use ideality as your guide, your North Star, by constantly asking, how can I make this whole thing just a little bit closer to perfect?
So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you're totally stuck on a problem that feels like an impossible trade-off, just take a step back and think like a TRIZ inventor. What hidden resource sitting right there in plain sight holds the key to breaking your contradiction?